more about alcoholism. Most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it's not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove we could drink like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were alcoholics. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently may be, has to be smashed. We alcoholics are men and women who have lost the ability to control our drinking. We know that no real alcoholic ever recovers control. All of us have felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control, which led to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that alcoholics of our type are the grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. All right, Paul, that'll start us out for today. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
All right, thanks, Mike, and nice to see everybody. If there's anybody new, just put your hand up and stuff. That would be good. You see anybody new, Mike? All right, so we have Ross. Yeah, welcome, Ross.
Yes.
For Ross, and just as a reminder, this meeting is about looking at the program of AA, especially the exact nature of wrong, in a certain way. And then every share that follows is sort of umbilically corded to that idea. And that is found in page 64 in the big book. I think it's the third paragraph, which is right before the fourth step, describing the process. And one very clear way that they describe the process is being convinced self. So the requirement to participate in this process is being convinced self is what has defeated us. Being convinced self, manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. There's a clear difference between us and self. Yeah, us is a collective, self is a singular. That's why we relate to alcoholics, because they're showing the same traits and symptoms that we are, even though as an individual, we may be completely different. So that which has defeated us is a singularity, and it defeats many. We are the collective, so to speak. So being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. We will now look at its, obviously meaning self's, common manifestations. The first paragraph after that is resentment. Yeah, so if you follow what's being presented in this big book, resentment is a manifestation of self in one's life. Yeah, it is not your manifestation, it's self's manifestation. They're quite different. Yet most of us speak of self's manifestations as ours, because we're under the trance of being identified as self. Yes, obviously. If I thought what Stanley did was me doing it, I would be under the trance that I'm Stanley. Yeah. So what would be the solution? To try to improve Stanley, or to realize you're not Stanley? I would say realize you're not Stanley. At first, you got to improve Stanley because your house is on fire and all this shit. But after a while, it shifts into seeing you're not Stanley. Tell you the truth. If you keep trying to improve Stanley, it's going to turn into an urban renewal project. It's going to suck all your finances, your interest and attention, and it can only go so far, because you can't build a solution on the problem. It just doesn't work. Yeah, it'll be riddled with holes, so to speak. So this is the premise that follows every one of these sessions we have. We're not here to change anything in the program. We're just pointing out one of the ways you can look at it that's actually presented in the big book. Yeah. The next paragraph or 2 paragraphs later, they may be claiming all these things to be theirs, but this little nugget snuck in. And I would say, to me, the big book was a download. Yeah. And a lot of nuggets snuck in where your old ideas that you were the doer and you're the cause of your own misery. I don't agree with any of that. I believe self is the cause of the misery. And we identify as self, so we call us the cause of the misery. And that will definitely handcuff you in the pursuit of release from the bondage of self. If you're identified as self, it's just gonna severely limit the possibilities. Seriously. So it's right in the book. We try to take it a little further because, as it says in A Vision for Us, we know but a little, but people who come after us are going to add on to this understanding. So here we are, hopefully adding on to the understanding of what? The exact nature of the wrong, which is the act of being identified as self. Now, are you in that? No. The mental state is in the act of being identified as self. And basically, we're identified as the mental state. Basically, yeah. So what the head says we think is true, and then we try to get out of what it says we're in. And that's really the slavery, trying to get out of what you're not in and trying to get into what you're not out of. Just incredible. So that's the presentation, Ross. We get together because, as you can see, the problem thrives with repetition, and we think the solution can get a foothold with repetition. Yeah, so we're here. We don't stray from this idea for however years we've been on Zoom, and hopefully we won't, because I don't see, to me, it's very clear. You don't have to agree, but if you don't see this, you're going to be looking from it. Yeah. So if you don't see you're not Stanley, you're going to be looking from the idea that you're Stanley. And then life is going to confuse the hell out of you because you're wondering why Stanley is doing all this shit that you don't want to do. So let's get to the reading then. All right. More about alcoholism. I want to flash into a 10-page later where they go through this whole description, and it says here, I think it's around here. It basically says if we don't pick up the first drink, this would be all academic. Yeah, you wouldn't have you'd need a huge amount of knowledge. You would just be not picking up the first drink. And so my feeling of the program really is the program puts you in a condition of not starting. Yeah. It's not about stopping. That's the beginning phase. And really, that's where the problem probably has a dominant role. You've got to stop before you cannot start. Yeah. And so the dilemma, to me, the easier, softer way is not starting. The harder way may be stopping. But this is what we come to. And I hope you meet the grace that I've met and realize that something is doing and did do for me what I couldn't do for myself. Yeah. And from that demonstration, I've the idea of surrender and reliance on a higher power is very tactile to me. It's just very intimate. It's not a mental exercise. It's just a feeling of how I live life. Yeah. I was very clear that no human power could get me sober because a lot of human power was trying to get me sober. My mother, the state, me, a lot of things, nothing seemed to work. And yet suddenly I was struck sober one day. And luckily it was a 2-punch knockout. I was struck sober and then I was introduced to AA that night. Yeah. And then AA allowed that knockout to become the basic of my life, really. Without that, miracle would have died on the vine in a day or two. if I wasn't introduced to a way of life to sustain it. Yeah, because this isn't, the spirit can choke in this world, really, in a lot of ways. The mental atmosphere can be toxic in a lot of ways. Yes, and sometimes when it's coming out of an intensive care, which is active addiction, it needs an incubator. It needs a way of life. It needs something to let it get back on its feet again. And that's what the program is. Yes, the program is a collective of us, hopefully recognizing the problem itself, and then growing out of that condition into new conditions, directed by a higher power. Yeah. So, yeah. So here, what was it? Many of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if the alcoholism is talking, it doesn't want to admit it's the alcoholism. Yeah. See, this is why I don't know how it works for others, but how it worked for me wasn't getting better, was admitting I can't get better, really. I admitted failure, like complete failure. And that's been my winning call. Yeah, it has. And I'm very clear that I can see a lot of stuff, but I can't do a lot of stuff about it. But if I see a lot of stuff, I can bring what I see to the higher power through step 6 and 7. Yeah. And I'll let that higher power, melt down the thing back to its essence of the gold. Yeah. Because I have proven not to be a jeweler. Yes. I lack the ability of managerial skills. So, and that's been 34 years of my life. That theme has been the running theme. And admitting that I can't do something, and then something changes, instead of trying to whip myself into the doing of something and then it failing. Yeah. So I'd rather have the failing be the starting point, not the end point. Yeah. And for me, if I try to manage, it's the end point. I'd rather have it the starting point, an admittance of powerlessness, and then I feel and experience power. Yeah. So I don't want to arrive at any more failures. I want to start at the failure. Yeah. And then go towards the success, because it was going the other way before. Yeah. So that's an incredible different direction. So I admit I can't pull shit off, and then the shit gets pulled off. I admit I don't know what to do, and then I don't do anything. Where before I refused to admit I don't know what to do and do something that would, I'd be in jail for a week or 2 weeks or something like that, or in a hospital. So, yeah. So I think I'm on the wrong page, actually. I don't know. Was it 30? Yeah. So he talks about one of the major delusions, which is, to me, it's sort of like if you saw alcoholism as an octopus, when it lets go of its ink, this would be a major delusion. Yeah. So the octopus of alcoholism, it's major. It's when it wants to disguise itself. When it's presented with act failure, it says, if I only manage better, it's all going to work out. The evidence is in that you're not managerial quality, but it just keeps exerting. It was just the situations and conditions that had me fail. Yeah. That's not of us. We do not have that delusion. The disease has that delusion. It would be better to, yeah. There was the disease. The disease just made it sounds like the demonic possession legion. The disease was talking at the same time, like 8 different voices. Yeah. Yeah. Don't go back to that pit of hell. So we know that oh yes, all of us felt at times that we were regaining control. Yeah, my nephew. He was just telling me his story. He's in a program again, and he thought he has regained the control many times since 20 years old till 60, 40 years. Yeah, and now he's actually, it's like the asteroid, the comet has come back, like it has an orbit of 30, 40 years. He's at the same rehab he was 25 years ago. Wow. Yeah. The comet of alcoholism. It's amazing. Really is. So he's sober today, which is great. Fantastic, really. That's the only chance. At that point, the only chance is to be sober a day at a time. Yeah. The elephant is consuming all the oxygen in the room. It's just, no, you're barely on life support. Yeah. So the reading had what it said. You're fucked if you don't see certain things, basically. So you can see them and learn from others, or you'll have to go the hard way, learning, only through getting whacked a lot. But the end result is worth it, really. So if you don't die and you wake up and you start recovering, then everything that happened had a value. Yeah, it brought you to this point of recovering. And I feel like we're all going to be done one day, dead. I'd like to be done before I'm done. You know what I mean? I like to be done of being taken over by this fucking thing before I'm done, so there can be a life. Yeah. So, yeah, Mike, thanks.
All right, thank you, Paul. All right, if anybody has any questions for Paul today or any small comments, please use the raise hand feature.
And some of these times we're not going to comment on readings. Yeah, we're going to go free range somewhere else, just roam around.
Yeah. No, Paul, I love your take on the exact nature of the wrong on page 64, but I also like how you riff on other portions of the book as well, and that's why I brought this particular page in. Because
the thing is this. One of the things, there's a view that's stubborn. I believe there's these nuggets, and then the old view of where the doer, the thinker, the feeler kicks back in, and then there's a presented that you're the cause of all your misery, which I don't agree with. Yeah, I believe we're like a factory of expression and observation, really, and that factory can produce a lot of products. One of them is misery, but it's based on who's running the factory. The factory isn't doing it. Yeah. The factoring allows it to happen. It's who's running the show produces the products. So when self is running the show, I think self produces misery quite well. Yeah. And when the higher power is running the factory, it produces gratitude and like wonder and awe, AWE, quite well. Yes. I don't believe the factory has the true say in the matter. It just has the machinery to produce an effect. Yeah. And I truly believe there is only, in the AA presentation, there's only two ways: trusting finite self or trusting the infinite. It doesn't say the finite self trusting the infinite. It doesn't say that. I think many of us are in that condition now. The finite self is trusting the infinite, which is really trusting finite self. So this is very clear. It's whatever we are, a vagueness, is either trusting the finite self or trusting the infinite. It doesn't describe what we are, because I don't believe what we are can be described. Yeah. But you can tell where the faith is by the vehicle that it's put in. So if the faith is put in self, it produces a lot of irritability, restlessness, discontent. Yeah, it produces mental anxiety because you're believing every freaking thought as if it was real. And all this shit happens to a point where you want to get immediate relief from a seeming problem that's actually not there. So then it leads you to fuck it, then you do something like drink, even though you've been sober 5 years or shit like that. It's a powerful takeover based on the faith that's put in it. If that faith is in the higher power, you'll probably be able to quite nicely stay sober a day at a time without much thought or effort. It will become a habit, yeah? And then you can, pay attention to what's actually happening instead of being absorbed in what's not happening, yeah? So one faith will enrich your day. Faith put into the trusting the finite self may enslave your day. Yeah, it's that power that's being directed. The power is directed here. Something's coming through us. Yeah, it can be dominated by self or the higher power. It's not a combination. It's one or the other, really. Yes. And so we tell the truth about the defeat. And we hopefully recognize the pattern of how we've been defeated. And we see the foreignness of what has defeated us. And when it keeps appearing, we bring it to step 6 and 7 for it to be reconfigured. And we live a life based on the principles we learned in the day-to-day living of recovery. We're open to being of service. Yes. All this stuff. And then that life that seems so demoralizing and pitiful and incomprehensible blooms again. Yeah. I've seen thousands of plants that had come to the conclusion they were never going to flower again, and they're blooming. Yes. We're wrong and then wrong and wrong. Yeah. So, yeah. And I can't dispute. I don't know how someone's going to get sober. I mean, most people looking at me would have said, I'm never going to get it. Yeah. And then it happened. So I may look at a guy and think he's never going to get it. And then I'll see that it happens. And then, and I love being proved wrong quite a lot, just to remind me that, hey, that's a failed system. How do I get reminded it's failed? It's wrong. Yeah. I don't want to get reminded by, thinking robbing a bank was a good idea and then getting caught. I'd rather find out it's wrong in an easier, softer manner. But there's value in however it goes. I just rather go the easier, softer way. So, yeah, I listen to other people who are fucked, and I realize I don't want to. I can tell what's being relied on. You can tell. Yeah, you can tell when someone in a room there's no threat, it's not too hot, it's not like, crazy shit going on, and they're flipped out. Obviously, they're reacting to what's not happening. Yeah, so the attention and interest and their factory is being put to use by self. It's producing an anxiety that mimics the effects of fear, but there's no apparent threat. Yeah. That's the bondage of self. The bondage of self is not thoughts, it's your thoughts. Yeah. I can forgive people of doing things. I'll never forgive myself if I do those things. That's insanity. Yeah. So this personalness is what kills us, really. We live as if our face is our ass, and we're trying to save face all day while we're losing our ass. Literally. So here's a nice anatomical illustration. When I came in, they said, bro, you got to be willing to save your ass instead of your face. And I was in the condition of thinking my face was my ass, really. So I needed an anatomical fucking diagram to see what's what. Yeah. There was a lot of pride in drug addiction. In the world of doing coke, if you didn't tweak out in a 5 or 7 day event, I mean, you were fucking respected in that little circle. You were. If you could shoot coke and not look under the door or through the curtains, yeah. If you could just take it, you thought you were higher up on the pecking order. You were. I mean, seriously, it doesn't matter. You can be in the smallest pond. The head will try to cast you as the biggest frog. It's just the way it goes. It's no difference. Yeah. Just different scales. So, yeah. I'm here to save my face. No, well, no, you're here to lose your ass, really. That's the key. So let's tell the truth. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't like the way they dress. Well, there you go. You'll be dressing like them soon. A few more years. You won't have a matching ensemble. You know, they'll be, yeah. There'll be clashing colors going on. That redness of your fucking face. So I'm happy to be sober, and there is a solution. There is a solution. Yeah. That's an awesome. That's all you need, really, in the road side, on the road to recovery. The first bend, there's the sign. There is a solution. All right, fantastic. Yeah. And here we are, proof of that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, anyone want to share and stuff? If you have.
Yeah, Kurt Z has his hand up.
Yeah.
Our friend Kurt. Kurt, how you doing? You at the beach?
Oh, Kurt Z.
At the beach, yeah, just sitting at the beach. Hey, Paul, I was thinking about when you were first started talking, I thought about the part in the book that says, hoping against hope that we were true alcoholics. And then I was thinking about Roland when he met with Carl Jung. And there's this little part in there, he says, this hope was destroyed. And it's just funny because when it's the failure. That hope was just managing and controlling, but I didn't know that, it was just a managing and controlling. It was just a way to have some power over it. And then I thought of the part in the book that says, I think it's on page 50, it says, every one of them has gained access to and believes in, and the order they put that in. And I thought, it's really funny because when there's an access to it, you believe it. It's just, it identifies itself. It doesn't really need your help. And so I really like what you said about I always say I'm a successful failure around here,
Yes.
And that's just, that doesn't make sense to the head, but it sure makes sense to me. Yeah.
The funny thing is, the failure, it's really admitting the failure. Yeah, that's the beauty.
Yeah.
When you admit that, a lot of times people have heavy experiences, and then in a half a second, a part of them escapes the message in that experience and becomes the observer, as if they're not of it. But when the box with me occurred, all of me was in that box. It was the first time that the observer couldn't break out of the gravity and then fucking critique the situation and continue its little life. Everything was in. You know what I mean? How self.
Well, yeah, that's what happened to me, and that's exactly what happened to me in 1986 when I got released. But when I drank again, then the other thing happened to me where that was like the head got a hold of it in 1986 and became the observer. And then when I drank again in 19 years and then had that release experience, It was very different because all of me was there, not the stage character. In fact, the stage character was very visible. It was very visible, backtracking 19 years and going, oh my God, you were exactly what the book said. By every form of self-deception, experimentation, you're going to prove yourself an exception to the rule. Therefore, in control. And that was just clear as a bell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with a parasite, it will attempt to escape. And so I feel a lot of times when you think you have it cornered, it slips out. And at the moment of the bottom, it didn't slip out. And so, and the beautiful thing there is from then on, you can see when it's slipping out, where before you didn't. Yeah, you would immediately, the attention would go to the observer and you would be in denial of what's happening. And you'd miss the big invitation, really.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to avoid what you thought was danger. But then when it finally, grace finally captured you, cornered you, and you saw that thing attempting to escape and got caught, and the truth was told. Yes. Yeah, truly, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
And then you can see it, because before, when it would escape, it would be clothed as you. Now you see it, in its final, its final hidden perch, which is observer. You see it as not you. It's very because that's when it says in the third step, take all of me, the good and bad, take all of me. And so that's been captured in a way. That's because usually, even when I got run over by the car twice the same night, I'm laying in the hospital bed and I had a distinct feeling of a trinity. I felt the life force of the body was almost out. It was I had never felt that since I was born. It was really close to being extinguished. Yes. Then there was a space, and then there was this thing like in the corner that would be that it had shot out of the box and was hiding in the corner, observing me in the hospital and seeing how it can now beat the shit out of me with, what the fuck did you do? Why did you go there? You know what I mean? I could see the three distinctnesses of it. And therefore, in the hospital, it survived because it had left. And lingering. It took more of life to get to it, to get to the point of finally capturing it. And then having it up to the grace. And then there was a submission, really. There was a surrender, a true surrender. It was a trip. So, but now that was seen, a lot more comes with that. A lot more comes with that, because the head loves to disassociate when the shit hits the fan. It's yapping, right? Like it's the coach on the sideline, but it never gets in the game. It
never gets. That's a good way to say it.
It's a trip. And then it leads you to complete defeat and demoralization, yet it escapes unscathed in a way, only to reintegrate itself and then take on running the recovery now.
Well, that's what's so great about what you said in I think it was the last meeting, the meeting before that. It says a lot of people approach this like, okay, this is going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's the volume gets turned down on it, and you see it for what it is, because it doesn't get in, right?
Well, yes, it's almost like it's in a cage, and it can't get out. And so it's sort of like there was a famous old Twilight Zone, one of my favorite, and it's about a guy comes in this terrible storm to this like mountain monastery, and he asks to be let in, and they don't have anybody ever let in, but the guy lets him in finally, and he's in it, and he starts hearing a sound, and it's a voice coming from the cellar, and it's asking the guy to open the door to let him out, and he's wondering why this doesn't seem to have a lock or anything, and it's the devil. The devil dude in the monastery, and the guy opens up the door and lets it out, and he walks behind these pillars, and each time you see him again, his horns are getting bigger and everything like that. It was really cool little show. So it's a Twilight Zone, so I recommend.
That's a good one.
So in this case, it can't get out. It can't escape. A higher power has enveloped it, sort of like an amber. So you live as if the problem doesn't exist anymore, but it's there, but it's an amber. You know what I mean?
That's a good metaphor right there. That's a good one.
It's sort of cool. It's like if you had an amulet, you'd be, oh, there it is. There's selfing. There'd be a slight movement, but he couldn't. It had nowhere to go. But it would still be. It's still alive.
Yeah.
The incantation is on. You can't escape.
Thanks for your
That's
time,
beautiful.
Paul. Yeah, thanks for your time, buddy.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can just riff on it. It's fun. But I remember that thing. That was a survival mechanism. When the shit was so bad, there was just disassociation completely.
Yeah.
I remember my leg was not taken care of at all under the alcoholism. I was completely disassociated from the body. It was just getting me to get drugs and shit like that. Yeah. It was just unbelievable. And there was no concern at all about it, at all, except for the face, you know, how you look.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And yeah, now that thing, it doesn't escape in its little mental balloon. It's pulled down, into the situation. Yes. And it faces the root away. Yeah. And then the higher power is introduced, and now that same juice that we are is being directed by clear, good, orderly direction, let's say. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool, eh?
Well, it's what you said, you know, it's like, this is, you know, you said this before, and I totally agree. This is the last answer. It's this unsuspected inner resource. And it just reveals itself, you know, past that stage character. And man, that's all I ever wanted. That total existential crisis of unworthiness just poof, disappeared.
Well, yeah, it brings an ease and comfort, you know, so you don't need to have a huge, comfortable, plush life.
Yep.
Because there's an ease and comfort that's brought to it. The life doesn't have to afford all of it. You are on a nice level of satisfaction and contentment. Yeah. You're chilled out. So basically, you appreciate a lot less, a lot more. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, right.
You just do. Yeah. It's, it brings out the best in us, I feel.
Yeah, it does.
Something's going to bring out something. And because of the dualistic nature of this place, you could call it contractive or expansive. But you can tell the intent of what's playing you as an instrument very quickly. Yeah. By you know, just 30 examples of notes. Yes. So you can see what's leaning towards the contraction and what leads towards the expansion. Yeah. And then there's, and you come to a point that you're resting assured in these good hands. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a solution.
Yeah.
There wasn't one really before 1935. They didn't have a formatted solution. They didn't. I mean, people tried everything, lobotomies, everything else. Now there's a solution. Hallelujah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of belief systems, but no solution.
No solution, exactly. So
Yeah.
there was a solution, but the problem was trying to find it, maybe. Then they finally admitted about the idea of powerlessness, and to admit that you are failing. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so there we go. Hey, thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, Kurt.
Thank you,
Enjoy
Kurt.
Yeah.
Paul, the Twilight Zone episode you were referring to was the Howling
Oh, yeah, great.
Man. Anyway, I put it in the chat for people if they want to reference it. Next up, we have Ross, our new friend Ross. Come on in.
Hi there, how you doing? I've got a I've got a Glaswegian accent in Scotland, so hopefully you can understand me.
Need subtitles. Yes.
Yeah, I know,
Ross,
I know.
Ross, can you just say the word miracle for us?
Medical.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I love that. I love the Scottish way.
Yeah, it's funny, if I'm ever in a meeting with people that aren't from Glasgow, I can really hear my own accent.
Yeah.
So yeah, my recently asked another guy to sponsor me who talks quite a lot about self and things like that. And in my own journey, I came across a few realizations, and I called it the ego, and in my own sort of circle of friends in recovery, I talk quite a lot about it. And it was just quite recently started to get a little bit disturbed about a couple of things, and I wasn't really sure what it was all about. And then my sponsor had told me to watch one of your videos and see to actually hear that you're talking about like self in this way. It's really pushing me over the edge with it, because I think it was getting to me a bit, making me identify. But hearing you talk because I thought I was going to have to do another small step 4 on myself. And then my sponsor said what you say, you just don't agree with that. It's the self that caused the problem. So within a few days, I went from thinking I need a step 4 on myself to a new level of disassociating from self,
Yes.
And it's really, really interesting because I've never experienced in my 4 years-ish of recovery, knowledge and perspective taking disturbance away. Because I've always went through the inventory process or whatever I need to do, sharing it. But through knowledge and perspective, it's taken the disturbance away. So I feel like I'm very much on board with everything that you're talking about with all this stuff. But I wonder, how do you expand on it? How do you like keep pushing away from the ego or self in recovery?
You don't expand on it, and then it gets expanded. Yes. Yeah. You just follow simple cues. Yeah. Yeah. Just see what happens. Downloads are happening all the time. They're just misdirected a lot of the time. Yeah. Now you'll start getting the news, the real news, and then you'll come to terms with it, and then it will cause whatever effects. Yeah. Yeah. Let's say you're already in the process. You don't have, in other words, the car is moving. You don't have to push it. Just stay in, Yeah. I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because oh, sorry. Yeah, I was, after this sort of disturbance had left me, I feel like my ego was trying to tell me I was disturbed because I was feeling different. But when I spoke to my sponsor, he said, it sounds like you're in a new state of consciousness and you just don't know what it feels like. And you're just kind of coming to terms.
Yes, that's good. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, you get into the groove, just like it says, trust the process and don't leave before the miracle. These are suggestions that this is an ongoing event. Recovery is a verb, not a noun. Yeah. And it's an ongoing event. And when we're going, all of us in a way are going through the same operation. And so we can see where you are in a certain sense, yeah, because we were there. And then just give you a suggestion, the one that was given to me, which is just stay on the operating table, don't get up, and don't play doctor. Yeah, just follow the principles of AA, do this service, commitments, whatever, and you're at, when you go through phase, there's a phase of being worked on. Yeah. Maybe in the beginning, it looks like you have to do the work, but it shifts. You can feel it, that you're now being worked on. So now it's like that statement on page 80 something. You'll see that this is happening without any thought or effort on your part. Yeah. It's almost as if you're caught in a jet stream. It's more obvious than when you were doing it, that something else is doing it. It becomes more obvious that something else is doing it. Yeah. So just keep your hands off of the controls. Don't fuck with the buttons or anything. And yeah, enjoy the scenery in a way.
Yeah. It's interesting because up until very recently, I felt very much in the presence of the higher power. Miracles happen in my life just by doing the stuff every day. I do service at the area level, like the Scottish IT committee, things like that. But then I think when I started speaking to my new sponsor, and he speaks very similar to how you speak, my ego or the self was like, oh, wait a minute, and it came from me with a few things. So do you think that just being in the environment of hearing people like yourself talking like this, do you think that's enough to just keep doing what I'm doing for that, to then the power to just push me through?
Well, you'll find out, and if it ain't, something else will be made available. Yeah. That's how I feel. Yeah. If you feel like a need to do something, then do it. Yeah. If you don't feel like a need to do something and something says you should, then take that something to 6 and 7.
Yeah.
After that, because basically what we're seeing is energy configured by self in a way, and then we bring it to 6 and 7 and let energy be configured by a higher power. Yeah, and extract the juice that's now sort of frozen in there, because it's usually about the past or the future with the self. And the other one is a living message, yeah, the present moment. And so 6 and 7 to me is taking all the jewelry and all the old ideas of self and bringing them to the higher power, to them, for that to reconfigure it and extract the value that was in there that may be hidden. Yeah, because self sees things in a very, very strict, myopic way. And the higher power, I feel, has much more of a panoramic view and an inclusive view. So when you give this thing that you think you know all about it, and you profess, hey, I don't know, and then you'll find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And finding out is much more convincing than rushing to I know. I used to work with a lot of people, and that was one of the deflections of self, is you'd be talking, they go, I know. I said, no, you don't know, or you wouldn't be here asking me for something. Yeah. But they always go the I know. No, this is a finding out in a way. So you try it, see what's happening, and have a sober assessment. If you don't trust your own, ask your sponsor, and then that's how we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're on sound footing, but the remnants of deep doubt are still available. Yeah. And then that gets changed over the years. Yes. Because, when I came in, I didn't, I couldn't trust me as far as I could throw myself. Yes. It was just very shot. And that faith, just to run on its own without the lingering idea of doubt, took a while. Yes. To burn out. So I would run by things that I've actually felt naturally I knew, but I didn't believe it. So I'd run it by people in the program. until the point where I really felt I could tell where that note was coming from. As you know, me being the trumpet, I could know what was playing me after a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so confidence grew. So yeah, I would just listen to your sponsor, and see how it's going. It seems like it's going pretty well. Yeah. Carry on. Have you ever seen the video of the two Scottish guys in the automatic elevator? And
Yes.
they're trying to say level 3, and it doesn't understand them.
Yeah.
And they keep,
That's a Glaswegian accent, the same as mine.
it's such a good video, because they go on for about 11 minutes and they just can't get the door open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch Scottish films with subtitles for sure.
Yeah, I'm speaking significantly slower.
Yeah,
Right now.
I know. Like if I went into a bagel store in New York, you probably wouldn't understand me.
Yeah.
Here, so I'm subdued. But it's a call. Say miracle again, please, if you can.
Miracle.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Miracle. Yeah.
Thank you, Ross. That's all the hands I see up.
Mike, let me just say something here. So when you read a sentence, things get emphasized, just like when you say the word miracle, Ross, a part that when I say miracle that isn't emphasized is emphasized the way you say it. Yeah. This is what happens with the new eyes the program gives you. You see things that were right there that you never saw before because something else gets emphasized. Yeah, you're not living a life emphasized by self now. You're living a life emphasized by the higher power. Yeah, so it's like that thing with Jesus, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, seemingly everyone has ears and eyes, but for those to have eyes to see and ears to hear, yeah, this is what is given to us through recovery. Yeah, through recovery, not by recovery, and then by the higher power. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a different emphasis. So the word miracle, when you say it, sounds completely different than when I say it. Well, the same thing with a lot of things. We don't realize this experience is being interpreted and things are being emphasized by what's interpreting it. So when self interprets it, you now can recognize it. It doesn't mean the interpretation of self stops. It's going to continue on, but there's going to be a loss of interest in it because you're now having a life emphasized by something other than self. Yeah. What you're drawn to, the interpretations are going to be different. And talk about like you've moved up a level of consciousness. Exactly. Yeah. There's been an upgrade in the programming, so to speak. The emphasis has changed. That's all. Yes. That what's used to be emphasized and obsessed over is now that is being moved to something else. And then in the higher power world, the idea of obsession would be abiding. Yes. Because now what you're obsessed over is it's not being made up with the obsession. You're resting in it. And that's what they call in spirituality, abidance in the truth. You're abiding in it. Yeah. Because it's real. Yes. You could see it as an obsession if it went to what isn't real. But when it comes to what's real, it's abiding. See the difference? It's amazing. So all day, things are being emphasized at the expense of other things. Yeah. And that's now under review and being changed. It's beautiful. Yeah. And when you're privy to it and you're in the program of AA, you can bring the stuff to step 6 and 7. Yeah. That was now seen that they could be changed. I don't have to look at it that way anymore. Yes. Hallelujah. Truly, this is to me the living of recovery. Yeah. The emphasis of your life changes. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Now your ass is emphasized to be saved more than your face is emphasized to be saved. That's a huge movement. And there's all different little ones, but it's a very broad, different movement. Yeah. You're leaving the face and going to the ass in a sense. All right, Michael. Is that it for today?
That is it for today, Paul. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Hey, thanks. I gotta, all right. Yes.
Oh, hold on a minute, Paul. Steve Cole just came in from San Diego. He'd like to ask a question. Or he has something. Come on in, Steve.
I'm in. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, real quick. So what you're saying is, I'm afraid of the consequences of people finding out that I'm not working so well at work. I'm afraid of their opinion of me and the consequences of that. And so that's me trying to save face instead of me taking care of whatever's necessary to save my ass.
Yes.
Okay.
You can
That was
categorize it that way. But see, again, you may not be doing a good job, and then the head is using that to go off on, produce anxiety. Yeah. It
Okay.
likes to produce the effect of fear, but it doesn't have any real power, so it can't manufacture the conditions, so it makes them up. Yeah. So you
Okay.
get you feel like you're in fear, but there's no apparent threat. You're not seeing anything coming at you, but you feel like so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I was asking.
All right. Great. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll
That's
say
good, yeah.
goodbye. Hey, I would this one would be good to listen to again, this video. Yeah, because just to recognize that this is an interpretive event, and one of the bondages of self is how self emphasizes the interpretations of these events. Yeah. Yeah. It's important to see. And then you'll see some really great value in step 6 and 7 if you see that. Yeah. Yeah. Because as Jesus says, as you believe, so it is. So if you believe you bring something to 6 and 7, it will be changed. Why won't it be? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, where is the faith in step 6 and 7? Isn't it in the faith of being brought to sobriety by a higher power? Yes. That faith, yes, that's the basis of our sobriety, gives true meaning to all the steps. So 6 and 7, I believe when I bring shit to that reconfigures it. Yeah. As you believe, so it is. So, all right. Thanks, Michael. As always, thank you. But
Yeah,
I
no-
recommend because yeah, whatever. All
We
right,
have
Chris.
we have one more question from Chris B. If you have a moment, Paul.
Oh, he's stuck right here, mother.
I'm sorry, Paul. Just what you just said at the end there. I just wanted to say something or ask something. When you said, maybe we even how that thing about there kind of being two different interpretations, including of this meeting, really just struck me really hard, because I realize as much as I get out of these meetings, a lot of times the feeling I go away with is I'm not doing as well as everyone else. People are having experiences I'm not having and I want to have. And actually on kind of emphasizes or emphasizes the the self that, you know, that. So
Yes.
I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, I see it, and now that you just said it that way, I didn't think I saw it as much as since right after you said it, I realized it's been happening and I haven't been noticing it.
There you
So
go.
I don't know if
This
that
is
helps anyone else.
Yeah, this is the point. The last thing the head wants to do is to begrudgingly admit there's an awakening going on. So no, seriously, it doesn't, because it's rightfully so. It fears it's going to lose its position. Yes.
Yeah.
So it talks to us, you know, as us. Let's just be
Relentlessly.
clear about that. Yeah. It's going to say it, and it's very clear, yeah, that what it's presenting as your face is its ass. So it is. It's a mask at best. Yes.
It
It's a
grabs
mask.
everything.
So
It even grabs this meeting. I mean,
of course it does. Everything. This meeting is part of everything. So yeah, there's
That's
no,
amazing.
there's nothing that's forbidden to it. As long if you're there, it can seem to be there. Yeah.
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 Anyway, I don't
This
know if
is
that
what
helps
you.
anyone else.
This is what you see after a while. You see, this isn't about being absolved of what you've been doing. You weren't or aren't doing it. That's where it goes. Yes. The unforgivable doesn't become forgivable. It's still unforgivable, yet it's not you. This is how it is with me. If I'm going to speak out of experience, this experience, strength and hope, that's how it works in me. Yeah. I did not come to, the self didn't transform into something else. It's just exactly the activity is very the same, yet there's been a huge loss of interest in it. Yeah. But basically, if you really listen in, it sounds exactly the same. But I'm not that interested in listening to it anymore. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So now we'll say goodbye.
No,
Mike.
now we have support from Andrew.
What?
Andrew has his hand up. Andrew.
All right. This is going to
Hey, Paul. Yeah, I'll be quick.
skit for a little while. It's going to become a skit. All right, Ed. Come on.
Yeah. Paul, I just wanted to say thank you for these meetings, and I'm going to be starting a new job next week, so I won't be able to attend the 12-step meetings here. I'll be able to attend, I think, some of the non-duality ones in the evening. But yeah, I just wanted to just chime in real quick and say thank you for hosting these meetings. And even though I won't be showing up to the 12-step ones anymore, it's helped me, I think. I don't know how to say it, deal with some of the resistance with the 12 steps and at least be more open to feeling into some of it. So thank
Great.
you.
Great. And good luck with everything. Yeah. You never, you're always here, Andrew. Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
are. Yeah. You're a lifetime member of the Zen Bitch Stuff. You don't have to know it to be a lifetime member. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
You get all the unsuspected benefits of it. Nice to see you, Andrew. Thanks for saying that and saying, telling us you're not going to physically appear. Great. All right. Good luck. Eh?
Thank you, Paul.
I'll see you at.
Take care.
All right. Thanks. All right. So we got Walter. Yeah. The brother from another mother. I'll have to meet Walter sooner or later live. Who knows? We got Frank. Frank down in Tucson. Does his workout. He's ready. He's ready to rumble now. Yeah. Sally, she's comfortably.
Doing math.
Nice to see you, Sally. Ross, welcome. Thank you. Say hello to your sponsor. Yeah, for us. Alex and Jacob, as always. and the cat. It's growing, the situation there. All right. See you later soon. I'll be there in the spring, I think. We'll try to start planning a thing for May, June in back east. Yeah. Yeah. If I don't do that, I'll just, yeah, I need to plan it. Yeah. All right. Martin, nice to see you. Chris B, as always, thank you. Kristen, as always. Wow, I like to see Kristen. I had the pleasure of meeting her down in Pennsylvania. Steve in San Diego. Oh, Mickey, she was haunting the place with her lovely presence. Very nice. Joseph, as always, nice to see you. Gail, the pink cloud, yes. Keith, nice to see Keith again. Roman, as always, yeah. James Lebowski. Roman, I'm expecting to see you in Mexico next week.
I wish.
That would be cool. All right. We got the Lebowski. There he is. Nice to see you, James. Oliver, holding the fort in Berlin. Yeah. Emerson, nice to see you, my friend. Danny, California. Carry on. Yeah. Brian, my little transcendent reggae character. Yeah. Miranda, another day, eh? Good, good, very good. Yeah, it will just build up my, yeah. It'll build up momentum, Miranda, yes. It will, for sure. Just have to do what you need to do a day at a time, and then it gets, it picks up the ball and carries it, yeah. Yeah, it will. Oh, yeah, oh, Suzanne, nice to see Suzanne M. How
Thank
you been?
you. Well, thank you. Thank you for
Oh.
being here.
Oh, great, great. Let's see, we've got, oh, Celia. Yes, I used to see Celia on Wednesdays. We had a live meeting once, Wednesday night. John, Florida, very nice. Chris in Mammoth Lakes, he looks like he's got the right gear. We got Zoe in Arkansas. Wow, nice to see you, Zoe. Amy is traveling. She's not on the road. She's in a bus or something. There she goes. Somewhere. I don't know what. See you, Amy. We got Al. It looks like he's getting ready for a haircut. What's going on, Al? Hey. Oh, dentist. Oh, he's at the dentist. Ah, he was close. Get a free whiff of nitrous oxide. Laughing gas. All right, we got Mona. Nice to see Mona. iPhone, Mia, Bruce, Anu. What a lovely group. He's in the denial, yes, the dentile. All right, yeah. Yeah. We're enjoying your incapacitation now, just for a little while, yes. All right, everyone, thank you. We'll be here Saturdays live.